Honored guests, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the singing of the National Anthem performed by the members of the class of 2021, Blair Smith and Owen Wilson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. The President of the University, James E. Ryan.
Mr. Rector, members of the Board of Visitors, graduates, colleagues, family, and friends, welcome. My name is Jim Ryan, and in addition to being president of UVA, I'm the host for today's ceremony, and I will also officially award the degrees. It's exciting to think that we are sharing a unique moment in UVA history. You are graduating in Scott Stadium. I am fulfilling a lifelong dream to be on the Jumbotron in the end zone of Scott Stadium, holding a football. I just hope Coach Mendenhall is watching. I have to be honest with you, it feels like this moment is a bit miraculous, not because you're graduating, we all expected that, but given all the stops and starts we've had to endure, the plans made and the plans scrapped, hopes raised and hopes dashed, just to get to this moment. Believe me when I say I could not be happier or more grateful to be here right now with all of you. And if you feel the same way, perhaps you could let all of us know. Today marks the end of our 192nd academic session. These final exercises are the university's most joyful occasion, at least since the men's basketball team won the national championship. We are here today to confer degrees to the candidates from the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy, the School of Education and Human Development, the School of Medicine, all right, time to be loud, and the School of Nursing. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the lives lost and the people no longer with us because of the pandemic. I'd also like to recognize members of our leadership team who have retired or who are taking on new roles. Pat Lampkin, Vice President for Student Affairs. Alan Groves, Dean of Students. Craig Benson, Dean of the School of Engineering. Isla Berman, Dean of the School of Architecture. Betsy Daly, Associate Vice President for State Government Relations and a Special Assistant to the President, and David Wilkes, Dean of the School of Medicine. Each of these leaders has shaped this university in profound ways, and I'm grateful to them for their service, and I hope you'll join me in another round of applause for their service. I'd also like to acknowledge some of our student athletes who are on the road and can't be with us. Members of the men's baseball team, the men's lacrosse team, the men and women's tennis teams, and the women's golf team are competing on the road today, and we wish them the best of luck. Our music today is provided by the U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command Band under the direction of Treg Anchelet. Please join me in a round of applause for them, as well as for the members of the Army ROTC who presented the colors. I would especially like to thank and congratulate all the parents and grandparents, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, family and friends in the audience today. Together, you have supported these graduates in countless ways, including financially, emotionally, and gastronomically. You've helped pay tuition, you've offered encouragement, you've fed them when they're home on break, and my guess is that some of you may still be helping out with laundry. Today is your day too, which is why I would like to ask all the graduates to stand, turn towards the audience, and give a huge round of applause to those who helped you on this journey. I'd also like to thank the staff who worked hard all year during a very challenging year and who have worked tirelessly to make graduation special for all involved. And I'd like to thank the faculty who have served not simply as teachers, but also as mentors and friends. Please join me in giving our faculty and staff a round of applause. Finally, and most importantly, congratulations to the class of 2021. I hope and trust that you will look back on your time here as among the most important, enjoyable, engaging, and transformative experiences of your lives. You are leaving this community stronger than you found it, and I have no doubt that you will make the world beyond UVA a better place. I'd also like to offer a personal thanks for your patience, for your strength, for your service, and for your leadership, especially this past year. I have seen this class step up in countless ways that have brought joy, support, and comfort to your classmates and to our entire community. For your selfless actions, your generosity, humor, and creativity, which brought light to grounds even during our most challenging moments. Thank you. It's been a true privilege to serve as your president. I will have a few more words to share with you at the end of the ceremony, but for now, let us begin this ancient and honorable ritual through which we shall recognize and welcome you into the company of superbly educated citizen leaders. Thank you.
The Rector of the University, James B. Murray, Jr.
Good morning. On behalf of the board, congratulations. Above all else, first and foremost, for everlasting time, congratulations. Big day, day of your life. You don't get a cake with this day each year, but this day is when life gets seriously interesting. Interesting, that is, in the sense that all unknowable things are interesting. You've had some interesting experiences already. March 2020, and the world tells you, go inside, get on a mask, and don't mingle. Whatever you do, don't mingle. Oh, and by the way, we haven't figured out what's going to happen to your graduation. Well, things got interesting at my graduation as well, but in a different way. 1968, April 4, Dr. King shot in Memphis. 2 months later, 4 days before our graduation, Bobby Kennedy, June 5th, shot in Los Angeles. 53 years ago, we had our own version of collective trauma, a war in Vietnam, a war in which many UVA graduates participated, whether they wanted to or not. So yes, life throws many curves. You've learned that already, but it's all relative. On my graduation day, what did I have in my pocket? Well, my truck keys and a pocket knife, I think. What do you have in your pocket? The world. In that little computer you're clutching, the whole messy world is right there. And try not to look at it while I'm talking. You don't need to text your aunt right now. That machine, that phone, that technology, like cars first appearing on dusty dirt roads or airplanes appearing in the sky overhead, has fundamentally changed life. You and the world communicating continuously. Well, pass this message on. Time goes quick, quicker than ever, and you best manage it well. Years ago, there was a film with some dialogue written by Truman Capote, and one of the characters says, time? Time? What is time? I say time is a crook. Well, if time is a crook, technology has become an accessory to the crime. Make sound choices with your time. That's my best advice. I have more. Enjoy life, but affix a portion of your time for some learning. UVA helped get you to this point, but you really can't stop anymore. There's no walking away, not anymore. No walking away from new things. Things you'll need to know, to learn, to understand. The mobile digital world of social media, on-demand entertainment, and nonstop anxiety-driven news will continuously vie for your attention the rest of your life. Which of you will succeed? Who will struggle? My prediction, those of you who manage your time, those with time discipline, you will come out ahead. Discipline, you ask? Why don't we declare victory today? Well, do that and you'll rob yourself of opportunities, unprecedented opportunities. Spend time with your family, get outdoors, have fun, fall in love, play, party, but keep learning. At some point, you may be tempted to stop what you're doing here, stop learning, mistake. Seek new knowledge, always, then seek more for the rest of your life. And finally, come back to Charlottesville. You'll be welcome here forever. Circle back, you must, and tell us what you've seen, the glories of your life. Bring us new lessons, new knowledge. Come tell us some stories. And good luck with it all. Like war tripped up our classes of 50 years ago, COVID tripped you up a bit. No question, but you prevailed. More accurately, you have already prevailed. Given the strength that you've gained, no UVA class has ever been promised a brighter future. Spend your time wisely and you will own that future. Now, it's my main duty today to introduce our keynote speaker, and I'm honored to do so. Our speaker is best known outside UVA for two big things: as the co-founder of Reddit and as Serena Williams' husband. But here at UVA, we know Alex Ohanian as one of our most successful, influential, and engaged alumni. Alexis has 2 degrees from UVA in commerce and in history. In addition to Reddit, Ohanian co-founded an early-stage venture fund in 2016, initialized capital, and he is now launching a new fund called 776. As a venture capitalist myself, I hope I'll hear more about this. Ohanian describes himself as the son of undocumented immigrants and as business dad. He says he wants to be known for making this world better, much better, and has advocated for federally mandated paid family leave and for dads to use that leave to take an active role in raising their children. He has a Business Dad podcast in which he interviews dads about their experiences balancing family lives and careers. And he and Serena have a daughter, Olympia, who is 3.5. One action Alexis took in his quest to make this world better: after the murder of George Floyd, Ohanian stepped down from the board of Reddit and encouraged Reddit to ban hate communities and replace him on the board with a black director, both of which they did. He has pledged his future earnings from Reddit to be used to serve the black community and to combat violence based on racially motivated hate, starting with a $1 million donation to Know Your Rights Camp founded by Colin Kaepernick. Ohanian is also a proud co-owner of the National Women's Soccer League's future LA team, Angel City FC, along with, among others, actor Natalie Portman, his daughter Olympia, and our own Board of Visitors member, former UVA and U.S. national team star and 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Angela Huclas Mangano. Angela tells me that seat deposits for the 22 Angel City season are now available. Please welcome Alexis Ohanian.
In here in the first place, and if it weren't for early decision applications and a retake of my SAT, I don't think I'd be a Wahoo. Fortunately, though, I was. And I was here on grounds during, I think it was my second year, when I walked out of an LSAT that I was taking in order to go get breakfast at Waffle House on 29. That place is amazing for waffles and epiphanies. You see, because while I was there in booth 19, I decided I probably shouldn't be a lawyer if I walked out of the LSAT, and instead, I should start a startup. So if it weren't for being hungry, I wouldn't be here either. But luckily, 16 years ago, I was right where you are, hungover and waiting for a graduation speaker to get their commencement speech over with. I knew I was going to start a company, but even then I didn't know how it would work other than front page of the internet. and then I had a mascot, which I created while I was bored in a class at McIntyre. True story. Very little in your life will make sense as it's happening. You'll kind of connect all these dots of meaning later when you look back on it. And spoiler alert, graduates, this day is not for you. It's really for the people who helped get you here. I didn't realize that until many years after my mom had died. But what I have now are the photos of her that day and how ridiculously proud she was. She had given up a career to overstay her work visa here in America because of love. She ended up with a GED and a son whom she always told could do anything. And she was so proud, you would have thought she was the one graduating here 16 years ago. I never could have guessed that she would have been diagnosed with terminal brain cancer just a few months into starting Reddit. But all of the very best parts of me and any of the good things that I've contributed to Reddit or anything, really, they're thanks to her. So take that time. Gosh, take that time to hug, take that time to appreciate every single person who helped get you here. All right? Do that. You will not regret it. Thank them. Tell them you love them. Really, really mean it, because you're going to have so many moments in your life that you won't be able to get back. And this is one of those really special ones. So that's an easy one. You're not going to regret that decision. There's some free advice. I guarantee you're going to appreciate it later. And it actually speaks to a bigger thing, which is those people and the experiences they had and you had with them. Those are the things that matter. And I got to learn this firsthand as a 21-year-old, because my mom was faced with, a limited window. She knew how many years she had left, and those are the things that people care about when they face that end. So please invest in people and experiences. And, not a lot of people realize this. Actually, I don't think I've told anyone this. The Reddit alien started having these little doodles in the top corner. You see, my mom, she did her best to be supportive, even going through chemo and that really torturous process. And so whenever we'd talk on the phone, she'd have read Reddit, even though the content was really not anything she was into, to try to make conversation and just, share an interest in my work. So I wanted to make it a little easier on her. So I started drawing a fun doodle every morning in the logo. So like this little canvas of 120 by 40 pixels. I would just draw these doodles, kind of like how Google does for holidays. I would just do them for holidays, but also just for no reason every day. And it would be these adventures of like space travel or snowball fights. And I had this little canvas where I would spend 30 minutes a day drawing and creating. And it was very cathartic. It was really the only therapy that I got during those years. And it shouldn't have been, but it was. And it turned out what I was creating with those hundreds of designs was something that was really special for our users, for our community. I'd have countless people telling me how much they enjoyed coming to the site just to see how the alien SNU was doing. I've met dozens of people, like literally met dozens of people who have a tattoo of this creature that I created while I was a bored fourth year, and that I brought to life just because I wanted to make my sick mom smile a little bit every day. And that experience, especially while so young and feeling so invulnerable, was just incredibly grounding for me. And it's something I've tried to carry as best I can. It's something that I hope to instill in my daughter now. People and experiences are the ones who matter. They are our family is that most basic atomic unit of community. And I didn't appreciate this until I was a father myself, but now I really understand how even from the earliest days, the people who are here supporting you have been thinking about this, have been looking forward to this, and feel so much fulfillment, more than you will understand until maybe one day, God willing, you get to be a parent yourself. And now as a father, I can only hope for many moments like the one that I cringed about at the time, 16 years ago, of my proud parent. But now I'm the proud parent who's, so excited about my own kids' triumphs. And, for instance, there's a really big deal around here the first time our daughter, Olympia, wrote her own name. And look, no offense, Olympia, but, you all graduated from the best university in the United States of America. Hell yeah, right? So that's a hell of an accomplishment. But I'm not going to talk to you as a CEO today. I'd like to talk to you as a history major, because, after all, I did declare it here my very first semester as a first year. And it's actually the reason my new company is called 776, which is the year of the first ancient Olympic Games. Thank you, Professor Lendon. Great class, ancient Greek history. And if you want to know what will happen next, study history, right? I'm in the business of technology and investing, but I'm not good at my job because I can predict the future. I'm good at my job because I can learn quickly from the past and the present in order to see where things are trending, in order to connect the dots between all the people and all the experiences that I see. And there have been two major cultural transformations in Western civilization, and both of them followed global pandemics. See where I'm going here? After the bubonic plague came the Renaissance. Kind of a big deal for Western culture and civilization. Then after the Spanish flu came the Roaring 20s. Radical cultural changes happened in America. Mass media, all kinds of things were being revolutionized. And then the party ended with the Great Depression, which helped Hitler convince Germans, and far too many Americans than we'd like to admit, that National Socialism was the solution. Remember, humans did that, all the good and all the bad. Let's learn from both so that we can do more good. And so if there's one thing I'd like to instill in all of you, it's that no one is perfect. I'm not perfect. Sorry to say, neither are you. But that's great. So we shouldn't lionize individuals or man-made institutions, because like the people that created them, they are all inherently flawed. Now, rainbows, they're perfect, especially double rainbows. We should continue to be in awe of rainbows. My daughter is really into rainbows right now. But everything else, a very imperfect human made that. And that's okay. Because that means another imperfect human like you has the power to make it better or replace it entirely. The sooner you start looking at the world this way, the sooner you will be in a position to radically change things, to improve things, to build better systems. Critically looking at things and criticizing them is a part of the process, but don't let that be where it ends. Start building better systems and use those observations to inform how you do it. Keep asking why. It's one of the greatest gifts of having a 3.5-year-old is getting asked endlessly why, because it challenges you as a parent to really think like, okay, why? That first principles thinking is one of the best things you can do. And look, if you find yourself in a situation where you can't make the changes needed, it's okay to walk away, because sometimes that can have an even bigger impact. I know that's true. Now look, after COVID, we will enter a third defining period of cultural transformation, and community will be what defines this era. Look, I know it's the Reddit guy talking about community, but hear me out, okay? Before social media and smartphones, civic engagement was plummeting. Community was on the decline. And if you haven't read Bowling Alone, you should. But something changed. Thanks to the democratization of the World Wide Web, people started communing again, even with other people they had never met before offline. People they'd never seen face to face. People they may only know through a username or an avatar. And people started bonding, falling in love, finding community. And it's happening online as much as it's happening offline. And I'd argue it's even stronger online, where you're able to be your truest self. So this is a very defining trend of this third wave. And I encourage you all to serve as the architects of this next period in our collective history. Okay, as someone who was at the forefront of building digital communities, I am intimately aware of the improvements that need to be made. And I feel a deep responsibility to your generation that we continue to pursue them. We have to do better. It is crucial we get this right. Because when the crash comes, and it will, we need to have a strong enough community, a strong enough nation to withstand it. History has shown us everything is trending toward a more fractured and tribal world right now. And your generation was the first to be truly digital native and grew up affected by all the things we got right and wrong with social media. Yeah, it's complicated. But you all have perspective that I will never have. And you have a full life ahead of you. Please don't squander it. We have such an amazing opportunity. This third cultural shift, this third renaissance it's happening. Technology like the World Wide Web has enabled it. The framework is there. Probably is going to have something to do with crypto. But most importantly, we have a responsibility to do better, to be better, and to build these experiences that support the people who make our lives everything it is worth living. That's my hope. I hope all of you know everything is made up, except for the rainbows. Everything is made up. And that should be some of the most empowering and exciting news that you hear. Because there are a few universal truths, those people and those experiences. And there is going to be an amazing time over the next 10, 15, 20 years as we see what happens with this new technology, with the power of community, to hopefully create a lot more good. And I don't see any other path forward. We have to figure it out. We have to make it better for my daughter, for her entire generation, for all of us to be able to not just survive, but thrive together as a community, accepting the fact that we are all deeply flawed, but working to bring about the very best in each and every one of us. So, thank you. Really, from the bottom of my heart, UVA, I'm so grateful. I wish I could be here or there to do it in person, but thank you for giving this opportunity, and congratulations to UVA's graduating class of 2021. Well, Olympia, thank you for dressing up for this.
Thank you.
You look very nice.
Yeah.
So all the people Papa's talking to went to his university, the University of Virginia, the best university.
Oh.
One of the things that we say at UVA is wahoo wah. Can you give me a big wahoo wah?
Wah.
Let's try that again. Hold on. Wahoo wah.
Wah.
Hey, there we go, baby girl. Papa's so proud of you. Thank you for helping me with my commencement speech. Congratulations, class of 2021. You did it.
The Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. David S. Wilkes.
So, colleagues, and I address you as such because we are indeed colleagues in this calling to serve others. Colleagues, it is a great honor to be part of your graduation ceremony today. I also want to say a warm welcome to family and friends in attendance today. All of you have been critical in supporting these graduates, and although this ceremony is different from one that you may have perhaps anticipated some time ago, it will be joyful. It is joyful today, celebratory, and quite meaningful. This year's graduation is unlike any other, and if you have not done so already, then I ask each of you to stop and take time for a little bit of introspection, just so you can assess what you've experienced during your time here at UVA. All of you have managed the incredible challenge of pursuing your degrees in a mostly virtual environment for the last 1.5 years. You've navigated exams, dealt with interruptions in your lab experiences due to COVID-induced lab closures. You wondered if you would be able to complete your studies needed to finish your thesis. And you dealt with the uncertainties of completing medical education when, in fact, we took all the medical students out of the classroom in the clinical areas. And if that's not enough, you've witnessed a resurgence in the national social unrest linked to the murder of George Floyd and others. So think about it. What a journey this has been. So what I'd like to emphasize is just one thing, and that is that all of you exemplify resilience. Please note that if you can flourish in times of such uncertainties, then there is no limit to what all of you can achieve. So to their individual schools, so our BINS graduates, while you were in graduate school, the principles of scientific inquiry became second nature. That is, formulating questions that can be answered empirically, linking research to relevant theories, and using research methods in the direct investigation of any question. To our public health science graduates, while you are working toward your graduate degrees in public health and clinical research, the professional values and commitment to improve health well-being and health equity became embedded in who you are. You have learned to identify and address clinical and public health challenges, foster respectful community engagement, and link evidence-based practice with theory. To our medical student graduates, I have faith in your ability to help those who are vulnerable, anxious, and frightened about what is happening to them. You will continue to build on these skills that you have developed in the diagnosis and in collaboration and in treatment. You have learned in an environment of inclusiveness, and you will carry that forward with that concept that each person deserves respect and compassion. And in short, you have become physicians and healers. And each of you think about this for our medical student graduates. You chose a place to live, to do your residency, and you didn't even visit that location beforehand. So to survive that uncertainty is pretty remarkable. So I'll end with saying that you make all of us very proud, and I should say that you should all be proud of yourselves and give yourselves a big round of applause. And now, I'm pleased to share with you content created by the students from our 4 schools here today, the schools that are focused on service industries to which they've had committed their careers. So thank you.
So service to me is intrinsically tied to the profession. 4 years ago, me and my classmates took an oath when we received our white coats to both do no harm and protect the public health of any community that we end up serving in. It's very important to me that I'm in a career where I can be compassionate and help others.
Service to me means meeting patients from all different walks of life and providing the most empathetic care that I can to them in a way that is meaningful to them, that they want and that they advocate for, and in a way that is not a transactional relationship but is just comforting.
Service to me is selflessness. It's putting those around you before you and helping those around you by supporting them and helping them by providing them resources or anything that they may need.
For me, service means to serve others, including friends, family, patients, and also throughout nursing school, I thought it needs to be including myself, but also it have to be based on their best interest and to use the best outcome.
In the kinesiology major, we work to apply both our medical knowledge to the social and cultural factors that impact our patients. We work to improve their quality of life and help them return to their daily acts of living.
To me, service means showing up for yourself, for others, and for the most vulnerable in our community with compassion and a listening ear. As policy students and eventual policymakers, this year has particularly called us to reflect and engage in totally new ways. As a Batten community, we came together to serve virtually, to dialogue virtually, and become a community that had to navigate a virtual space. This year, as Batten students, we've totally fundamentally changed our orientation to policy, and I think at its core, service is about being able to be dynamic just like that.
Service to me is making sure that all communities have what they need to succeed, be that having students and teachers and parents and other caregivers help the greater community, or flip it the other direction and have communities helping students and families and teachers, making sure that they are successful in the classroom.
Service to me means committing yourself to others, not only physically but emotionally, for their well-being as well as your own.
For me, service boils down to them who much is given, much is also expected. And just to highlight some of the things that we as a community of students have done during COVID, we served as senior companions over the phone at the beginning of the pandemic. We were knocking on doors to distribute flyers of information for testing events and for vaccine distribution later on, and we still volunteered at all of these events. We continue to staff a COVID call center, and that's just limited to COVID. Our students are so involved in other aspects of community service in Charlottesville and beyond.
The Dean of the School of Education and Human Development, Robert C. Pianta.
Greetings, School of Education and Human Development graduates, parents, family members, friends, and faculty. It is wonderful to see so many of you in person and to celebrate your accomplishments. Graduates, this year you showed a remarkable amount of compassion, commitment, and resilience. You did that while coping with challenges, and at the same time you lifted others. And today we acknowledge and celebrate your successful preparation at the doctorate, specialist, master's, and bachelor's level. But more importantly, you are teachers, speech pathologists, athletic trainers, psychologists, counselors, advocates, experts, and leaders in schools, universities, health and human services systems, and you are scholars. Truly, the world will be better because of your work. I'm reminded of how profoundly important you are to the people and communities you will soon join to serve professionally. Your decision to devote your talent, time, and energy to promote the success of others, to fostering human development, has never been more important, more needed, and more inspiring. As we move through the next weeks and months to recover from this crisis and turn toward a new reality, you will take an essential role in shaping that reality. I use the term essential for a reason. Our school's graduates have always been recognized as essential by those we serve directly. Now you are known to be essential by the wider society. Your unique professional contribution to recovery is towards strengthening the human resources that make a society work equitably and communities thrive through advocacy, policy, scholarship, or work with students, clients, and patients. I am comforted knowing you are part of this future, and we recognize your character and thank you for your commitment. We need you now more than ever. Let me also take a moment to acknowledge the terrific work you did at the School of Education and Human Development during your time with us. As students, you excelled academically and spent thousands of hours training in the field, not only expanding your expertise, but enriching the lives of many. You also served our community in taking leadership roles within the school and across grounds in organizations like Ed Council, Seeds for Change, and Madison House. In your leadership of and participation in our annual Student Research Conference, you not only created a meaningful virtual experience for students and faculty, you also elevated the extraordinary life of Louise Stokes Hunter by naming the conference in her honor as the first Black woman to graduate from UVA, completing her doctorate from our school in 1953. Graduates, you represent the best of what we do as a school, and you are a reason for optimism and hope. As you transition from us, please do not leave us entirely. It is my commitment to you to stay in touch and make available to you our support when and as you need it. To the faculty, thank you. Your commitment to these graduates is evident in their success and accomplishment. Your dedication to our students and your craft as teachers and scholars is a source of pride. To parents, families, and friends, thank you for the support you provide to our students. I know your support has been a driving force in our students' success for a very long time, and even more indispensable this past year. May you enjoy this moment alongside your graduate and recognize the role you have played in this successful day. Graduates, here's to you. Congratulations, class of 2021. I am now happy to introduce a terrific video created by students from each of the schools here today, sharing their reflections on their time at UVA. Let's watch.
With graduation coming up, how have things been for you all the last couple of years?
Well, I have a lot of friends who had really big life events this year. So I have friends who got engaged, who had their weddings, who even had babies. So lots of big things this year.
I don't know. Well, I had a lot of friends this past year who fostered dogs and ended up adopting them. So there was a lot of COVID buddies, lots of pictures of them on hikes. frolicking in the snow, just kind of hanging out in Charlottesville.
My friends and I this year have also spent a lot of time outside and exploring Charlottesville and walking in the gardens on the ground, sometimes going up to Carter's Mountain, which has been really nice to take in the scenery and the fresh air and kind of get outside our houses.
The amount of people in med school that started baking is unreal. Like, my roommate started baking and brought people over to bake with quarantine precautions and all that, but I was eating challah bread for days.
Yeah, I definitely ate a lot of the baking that a lot of people did, but I know a lot of people also went on hikes, did their first marathon runs, but a lot of us were definitely on the food side of things, eating a little bit more than we were working out.
Yeah, a ton of people also started jam groups. I saw a couple of Zoom hangout sessions where people busted out their instruments, and a couple people started bands and recorded EPs.
Yeah, so I know pre-COVID, right at the start of our program in that first summer, we had a huge cohort party that really brought a lot of us all together. And I know that during the pandemic, once my friends and I had our social bubble kind of set up, we every Thursday night would have takeout dinner in my room with a fireplace going, and it kind of reconnect and de-stress over everything that was happening either like at the hospital or with our classes, and just kind of enjoying each other's presence.
Similar to you, Laura, a lot of my friends and I were in Garrett Hall, working on assignments or studying before exams before COVID. But then once the pandemic hit, we kind of relocated to the range, and it's been a great environment to continue those activities.
Yeah, there's also life before the pandemic for some of us. I remember back before there was social distancing, we used to have a couple parties for the med school. We had formals and all those bashes.
So how are your guys' Zoom classes like? I know ours was a bit touch and go.
I mean, I think our Batten Zoom classes were perhaps as accommodative as they could have been with everything being on Zoom, but it's definitely not the same as being in person and being able to ask questions. So I think we made the best of it.
All of these things I feel like were constant in every single class, but in the education school it was really sweet to see all of the little kids figure out Zoom, because half the time they were better than we were at it.
At first I wasn't too sure about Charlottesville, but over the last 6 years of my being here, I wouldn't trade these last 2 years for the world.
I'm just so sad that my time here is over. I know that UVA has prepared me really well.
Can you believe it? 4 years later, we're finally getting off this roller coaster, and we're gonna be able to say we're doctors now. You ready?
Yeah, man. It's been a very interesting time, but honestly, don't regret it for anything.
The Dean of the School of Nursing, Pamela F. Cipriano.
Greetings, class of 2021, and all of those who are gathered here in support of this wonderful occasion. 1,460, the number of days comprising 4 years. For our BSN graduates who've been with us all 4 years, we know you arrived at a tumultuous time when the nation had turned its eyes to Charlottesville, invaded by white supremacists, a time of shock, fear, and disbelief, a time you may not want to remember, but one that has permeated our school, community, and collective conscience. The memories stay with us as an unwelcome guest as we confront issues of social injustice and strive to elevate equality over bias and obliterate racism. Fortunately, with high points in healing, your class will be able to look back at exceptional success in unprecedented times. So let us not forget the high points of life at UVA, beginning with welcoming President Jim Ryan in 2018 and cheering the 2019 NCAA championships of our men's basketball and men's lacrosse teams and the 2021 NCAA women's swimming and diving team. Our medical center remains the #1 hospital in Virginia and regained magnet designation last year. You've also been participants in our quest to strengthen democracy on your way to becoming the responsible citizen leaders and professionals espoused in our university mission. And in 2021, the university dedicated the Memorial to Enslaved Laborers, an idea initiated by students which provides a moving tribute to honor the lives and memory of over 4,000 enslaved individuals who built and maintained the university. Today, we celebrate all of your accomplishments and applaud your endurance and resilience over the course of your programs, and most notably, over the past 15 months of unanticipated challenges. The painfully long months of the pandemic will leave an indelible mark on your personal history in ways you could have never imagined. Graduation is a time of transition. William Bridges tells us every transition starts with an ending and emerges with a new beginning. We each take our own time letting go of some of what was comfortable in our life before the transition. For many of you, your identity is changing from student to professional. You may have been thinking about moving on from a somewhat carefree existence to one with new responsibilities and obligations. And now, with great hope that life will go back to what you knew as normal, you won't really be returning to your old life, but instead are moving on the next step of your professional journey. Your sudden transition to online classes and giving up the familiar haunts of life at UVA, I'm sure required adjustment and resilience on your part. But you also endured the additional stress of uncertainty. Would clinical experiences continue? Would you risk bringing COVID home or be personally vulnerable to a virus we knew little about as the pandemic emerged? Fortunately, those fears are long behind you, and you've become master Zoomers. You've figured out how to navigate ever-changing rules and requirements. So now in your transition, you will leave behind your old identity and develop a new sense of who you are and what you want to be. Some of you will venture into your first role as a nurse. Others will take on advanced practice roles or make your mark as a scientist. The valuable life experiences at UVA will have a lasting imprint on your future practice. In your new beginning, you join a global community that will interpret this past year's events for months and years to come. As a school, we take pride in promoting your well-being and creating an environment that has supported your learning in the classroom and clinical environments, provided you physical and psychological safety, and championed the development of compassionate caregivers. Together with our dedicated faculty and staff, we carried out the ordinary as well as the extraordinary this past year. You have much to celebrate. Without you, nurses, the healthcare system doesn't function, and people's lives may be cut short. Without you, our patients' suffering is not relieved. Without you, innovations to bring healthcare to more people fall short. It is abundantly clear to the entire world now, more than ever before, that nurses are true fighters for the rights of our patients, for the resources needed, and for the recognition that nurses are the key to health and healing. You are part of a venerated group of professionals. Congratulations as you craft your new beginning. I wish you all the best for success and fulfillment. And now we turn to you again, our students from the great class of 2021 who are out there in the crowd, some of you maybe in the front row, for some more thoughts on UVA and the years that were like no other. Our Grand Marshal will recognize them and bring them on stage.
Please welcome John S. Costello, representing the School of Medicine.
To the School of Medicine, class of 2021, congratulations. My friends, colleagues, and now fellow physicians, I am honored to stand before you to acknowledge the culmination of our incredible journey together. These past 4 years have tested us in ways that we have never been challenged with before, especially the feat of completing our final year during a global pandemic. I am both incredibly grateful and proud to be receiving the doctoral degree with you all today. It means so much for us that we are entering a field of compassion and care during a time that our world needs it the most. 4 years ago, we all took an oath to both do no harm and protect the public health of all communities that we participate in. Today, we reaffirm that oath at the conclusion of our medical school education. Celebrate, be happy, and continue to do marvelous things wherever you go. Dreams are evergreen when you're staring at the grass, looking for flowers in the weeds of gardens past. Why is spring the sweetest when you know that it's your last? Sweet Virginia, we'll be back.
Please welcome Isabel R. Edwards, representing the School of Education and Human Development.
To the Education and Human Development class of 2021. With education as we knew it having been entirely upended just over a year ago, all eyes were on us to determine what came next for students and patients around the world. From publishing our first papers to student teaching, both virtually and in person, to evaluating the effectiveness of online summer school programs, we certainly got a taste of just how ever-changing our fields can be. Some of us joined our school on day one, while others entered the college, dreaming of being accepted to our chosen programs. Even more of us came to UVA confused and scared about what on earth we were going to major in. And yet, we found each other. We found programs and faculty and fellow students that will help us change the world in dozens of different ways. Last summer, I was going through the piles of papers sitting in my childhood bedroom, and I uncovered a brochure for the Youth and Social Innovation Program that I had picked up at Days on the Lawn in April 2017. I'd evidently promptly forgotten about it. It took me until the beginning of my second year to rediscover the major and fully realize how I wanted to spend my time at UVA, by serving others and learning how to create a more equitable education system. This is where I was meant to end up all along, and I hope you feel the same. I can't wait to see what's next for each and every one of you, and I wish you all the very best. Congratulations.
Please welcome Laura J. Ventura, representing the School of Nursing.
To the nursing class of 2021, I want to congratulate each and every one of you for your literal blood, sweat, and tears that went into this degree. We are entering into the largest healthcare profession in the United States during one of the most tumultuous times to be doing so. This past year, as I was already feeling burned out, I had the humble privilege of helping take care of a patient with terminal cancer. Feeling that there was so little I could do towards the end, I asked the patient and their family what more could be done. The patient looked at me, smiled, and said, "You and the other nurses have made this entire experience more painless than I could have ever thought. It was not the outcome I was worried about, since there is no control over that. It was the journey to it that scared me most." Every day could have been unbearable, but through the compassion and dedication that we provide to patients, it can make all the difference. May we be reminded of the faculty, family, and friends who have made our journey to becoming nurses and leaders in the ever-changing world of healthcare less painful. Thank you and congratulations.
Please welcome Adrian R. Preston, representing the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy.
To the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy, class of 2021, congratulations, we made it. We started at Batten Bills with people we barely knew and ended in a garden party with those same people who are now some of our closest friends. From then until now, we've written countless memos, spent hours in the Great Hall, and scheduled our days around the free food at Batten Hour. But we've only kind of made it. One thing that the Batten School has taught us is that there will always be problems in policy. But we now have the tools to not just watch pressing issues unfold in front of us, but to do something about them. Thank you to my classmates and professors who have taught me how to think critically about enacting change and showing me that it's possible to make the right kind of difference. Frank Batten Sr., the founder of the Batten School, once said to his newspaper company, Instead of get it first and get it right, let our rule be first, get it right. I think everyone here is united by the desire to get it right. Wherever, whenever, and however hard that might be, that goal is something I'm excited to see us all strive for. So congratulations to the School of Medicine, Nursing, Education, and Batten for accomplishing this incredible feat.
The Dean of the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy, Ian H. Solomon.
Greetings, graduates, families, friends. I love you guys. As the fourth dean to speak today, I'm thinking about the jazz ensembles I used to watch in Johannesburg or New York, where each musician would take a turn to solo, improvising a melodic line over a familiar progression of chords. We all know the melody of final exercises. We know the celebratory musical key and the rhythm, where each dean and several amazing students, and of course our inspiring commencement speaker, go Alexis, go Olympia, take a turn to solo. Sometimes improvisation is driven by necessity. In a story that may be apocryphal, the great jazz master Louis Armstrong was recording the song Heebie-Jeebies. You may not know the song. The most famous recording includes something like Heebie-Jeebies, lee-bop-da, and doodly-da-da, dee-ba-da, or something like that. This form of singing became known as scat singing, and Heebie-Jeebies became a bestseller. Interestingly, Armstrong's scat was an adaptation born of necessity. He had accidentally dropped the paper with the lyrics during the recording. He didn't know the words. But instead of stopping, he started improvising sounds with his mouth, or scatting. And he expected the engineers to discard the recording. Instead, they insisted on keeping the scat lyrics, and a new vocal sensation was born. Now, I'm going to try not to lose this script today. But over the past year, almost all of our scripts and plans and rehearsing did not apply. COVID-19 scattered our scripts, upset the harmonic understanding of our lives. The lyrics that we expected to sing, the choreography we expected to dance, all had to be reimagined. Compared to the music that we wanted to play, we were constrained. Lots of can'ts and shouldn'ts and don'ts. Can't gather, don't mingle, shouldn't travel. Lots of noisy discord, disease, distress, and dissonance. And so, we were asked to improvise, all of us, like jazz artists, even those of us who might prefer the predictability of classical music or the unrelenting pulse of EDM that I've become familiar with as a resident of the lawn. As doctors and nurses, educators, policy makers, and leaders, we are indispensable players in this ensemble. To restore harmony, to make the wrong chords right, to invent new solutions where the old ones don't apply, to take the tragedy of COVID-19 and create a post-pandemic world of equity and justice, healing and opportunity. Dear graduates, you've learned your instruments. You've become practitioners of the science of learning, the rigors of analysis, the dynamics of social institutions, negotiation, decision-making, and more. And while you have been learning and practicing, the music keeps changing. We might wish to blame other musicians or blame the audience or our equipment, but this is our performance. This is our opportunity. Don't blame the stage. These are the sounds of our unpredictable lives, the songs of change in which we play a part. We can adapt and adjust, find ways to shape the can'ts into cans, the mustn'ts at least into maybes, the no but into yes and create possibility and hope amidst despair. Congratulations, class of 21, for medicine, nursing, education, human development, leadership, and public policy. You are the artists that we need. Let's use our skills together to make this performance art that we call life something that is beautiful, profound, original, fulfilling, something grounded in love and service to others. Share generously of your talents, your skills, and your improvisational dreams. Together, we can bring greater health, hope, and harmony to our world. Heebie-jeebies, lee-bop-da, doodly-dot-dot-dee-bop-da. Good luck, graduates. Thank you.
Please turn your attention to the screens for a special reading by Rita Dove, the Henry Hoynes Professor of Creative Writing and former U.S. Poet Laureate.
After these final exercises have concluded, upon graduation, some of you will be headed home from your temporary academic shelter here at the University of Virginia. Many may already be at home watching the ceremonies via Zoom, while still others are off to new adventures, ready to make new homes along the way. No matter whether you are coming home, staying home, or preparing to leave wherever or whatever home is, this poem is for all of you. Congratulations, class of 2021. My mother phones to tell me it's time for planting. My father has built a bed, nothing fancy, mind you. Wooden planks painted yellow. That's nice, I reply, dipping my brights as I slow for a curve. And since it's your flower, she goes on, it seems the least you ought to do is come home and plant it yourself. Home, I say, marveling. Back, she amends. I break for a deer, one of the many who ravage seedlings in our neighborhood. Silent marauders by moonlight, crowding the edge of the road as if to declare this was our home once, and we'll eat anything we please. All right, I tell her, I'm on my way. I strike out the calendar, pack sweaters and music, snacks and a thermos for the drive home. 8 hours backwards into autumn, where my father stands in a baseball cap, arms crossed, surveying his handiwork. A picture frame set in the dirt, I think, kissing his cheek as I take the trowel and get down on my bad knee to dig. Not too wide, he says, but make it deep, 4 to 6 inches. The bulb is hairy, wizened like a baby chick. I place it beak first into its new home, gently spooning the earth back in, like the last child at the beach who lingers as the day cools, wanting to leave everything as she found it, patting the sand down, making it right.
The President of the University.
Okay, this is when it becomes official. But before we confer degrees, I would like to recognize the 247 students in the class of 2021 who have earned their baccalaureate degrees in 3 years. As a symbol of their achievement, these students are wearing orange stoles today. Will those of you who are graduating early please stand so we can give you a well-deserved round of applause. I'd also like to recognize the nearly 600 students who are the first in their families to graduate this weekend. As a fellow first-generation student myself, I'd like to say how delighted I am for all of you and how much I admire your accomplishments. And I'd ask that everyone please give a round of applause to our first-generation students and those in the audience who have helped them get this far. Over the course of this weekend, we will award to the class of 2021 4,505 baccalaureate degrees, 467 first professional degrees, 2,522 graduate degrees, including 306 PhDs, 10 EDDs, 2,183 master's degrees, 3 education specialist degrees, 17 Doctor of Nursing practice degrees, and 3 Doctors of Juridical Science degrees. The deans of the schools will present the candidates for degrees. Then, under the authority vested in the general faculty and delegated to me, I will award the degrees.
The Dean of the School of Medicine.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Medicine, Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Sciences, Masters of Public Health, or Masters of Science will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, as Dean of the School of Medicine, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Medicine, Doctor of Philosophy in the Biomedical Sciences, Master of Public Health, or Masters of Science.
I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Medicine, Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Sciences, Master of Public Health, or Master of Science, with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. And I charge you to use your training, knowledge, and research to advance clinical care, patient outcomes, and policies for the benefit of humankind. Congratulations.
The graduates of the School of Medicine will please be seated.
The Dean of the School of Education and Human Development.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, Doctor of Education, Education Specialist, Master of Education, Master of Science, Master of Teaching, or Bachelor of Science in Education will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, as Dean of the School of Education and Human Development, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for degrees of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, Doctor of Education, Education Specialist, Master of Education, Master of Science, Master of Teaching, or Bachelor of Science in Education.
I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education, Doctor of Education, Education Specialist, Master of Education, Master of Science, Master of Teaching, or Bachelor of Science in Education, with all of the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. And I charge you to be creative in facilitating learning and to use your knowledge, skills, and compassion to enrich the lives of the people whom you will serve. Congratulations.
The graduates of the School of Education and Human Development will please be seated.
The Dean of the School of Nursing.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Nursing Practice, Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing, Master of Science in Nursing, or Bachelor of Science in Nursing will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, as Dean of the School of Nursing, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Nursing Practice, Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing, Master of Science in Nursing, or Bachelor of Science in Nursing.
I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Nursing Practice, Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing, Master of Science in Nursing, or Bachelor of Science in Nursing, with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. I charge you to promote the health and well-being of the individuals, families, and communities you serve. Congratulations.
The graduates of the School of Nursing will please be seated.
The Dean of the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy.
The candidates for the degree of Master of Public Policy or Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy and Leadership will please rise and remain standing. Mr. President, as Dean of the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements for the degree of Master of Public Policy or Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy and Leadership.
I confer upon you the degree of Master of Public Policy or Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy and Leadership, with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. And I charge you to use your new knowledge and skills to provide strong leadership in the communities you enter, to craft wise and ethical policies, and to serve our nation in the world. Congratulations.
The graduates of the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy will please be seated.
Please turn your attention to the screens for a special musical performance.
What's up, graduating class of 2021 at the University of Virginia? This is Brandy Carlisle, and I just wanted to drop in on your graduation ceremony and say that to graduate in such a challenging and tough, crazy, just ridiculous year is such an accomplishment, and I'm really happy for y'all. And so I want to sing you a song. You're feeling nervous, aren't you, boy? With your quiet voice and impeccable style. Don't ever let them steal your joy and your gentle ways to keep them from running wild. They can kick dirt in your face, dress you down and tell you that your place is in the middle when they hate the way you shine. I see you tugging on your shirt, trying to hide inside of it and hide how much it hurts. You let them laugh while they can, let them spin, let them scatter in the wind. I've been to the movies, I've seen evidence, and the joke's on them. Yeah. You get discouraged, don't you, girl? It is your brother's world for a while longer. You gotta dance with the devil on a river to beat the stream. I call it living the dream. Call it kicking the ladder. They come to kick dirt in your face, to call you weak and then displace. You have to carry in your baby on your back across the desert. I see your eyes behind your hair, and you're looking tired, but you don't look scared. You let them live while they can. Let them spin, let them scatter in the wind. I have been to the movies, I've seen how it ends, and the jokes on it. You let them live while they can. Let them spin, let them scatter in the wind. I have been to the movies, I've seen how it ends, and the joke's on. All the jokes on them. Yeah, it is. Well, I know it is. Graduating class of 2021. Congratulations.
And now we will hear remarks from Patricia K. Epps, Chair of the University of Virginia Alumni Association Board of Managers. So please turn your attention to the screens.
Greetings to the extraordinary class of 2021. I'm Patricia Epps, and I'm chairman of the board of the University of Virginia Alumni Association, and a triple who. It is my privilege to be among the first to welcome you as alumni of this great university. As of today, you are members of our 183-year-old organization, made up of over 250,000 proud UVA grads worldwide. We are a community that is excited to welcome and support you. My own connection with UVA goes back 50 years ago, when I was a first-year student in the college. 1970-71 was also a unique and challenging school year because it was the first year that UVA opened its undergraduate schools to women. For me, it was the start of a lifelong connection to this very special place. I hope you will have the same experience. Wherever your careers and lives may take you, you always have a home at Alumni Hall. I hope you'll come back for reunions, keep up through the Virginia Magazine, and stay connected by taking advantage of the many opportunities offered by the university and its organizations. I also hope that you continue to connect with and take care of each other. If history is a guide, then the relationships formed with your fellow alumni will be cherished, lasting, and even life-changing. As a token of our congratulations, we have a class of 2021 keepsake print for you to pick up as you leave Scott Stadium. It also makes a great stand-in diploma for all those photos you're going to be taking this weekend. On behalf of the entire UVA alumni community, congratulations, class of 2021, and wahoo wah.
The President of the University.
Okay, I promise this is the last time you're going to see me. I want to begin by thanking Ms. Epps and to note that we are incredibly fortunate at UVA to have such a strong and tight-knit community of alumni whose time on grounds profoundly shaped their lives. And I'm grateful that so many of those alumni have done so much to give others, like all of you, the same experience. Those of you who are graduating today have benefited from the generosity of alumni, parents, and friends in ways large and small. And I'd like to thank all of you who have joined this tradition through your class gift. I'd like to thank the Grand Marshal and to all of our performers and speakers, and a special thank you to Alexis and Olympia for reminding us that we're all whos. I have one item of housekeeping before we conclude, and that is that graduates should please stay in your seats until after the platform party up here has exited the field, and then please proceed to use the tunnel when you exit. So at this point, I recognize completely that I am the only person keeping you from celebrating with your family and friends, which is why I'd like to spend just, I don't know, roughly 45 minutes or so talking about our global challenges and how your time here has prepared you to meet them. I'm kidding, although it is true about the preparation. Instead, I'd like to leave you with one simple request, which is to remember what happened here. When I say that, I'm not just talking about remembering a specific class you took or an event that happened, although I hope you do. Instead, I'd like you to remember the feeling of being here at this place with these people and carry that with you. Remember what it felt like to be surrounded by a diverse group of fellow students who were as compassionate as they were talented. Remember what it felt like to explore in ways you never had before and to learn from professors who loved a subject so much you couldn't help but get excited about it too. Remember what it felt like to live and learn in Jefferson's academical village in a community of honor and trust. Remember what it felt like to live with your friends. You don't need a lot of friends in life, but you do need some rock solid ones. And I hope and trust you've met some of them here, maybe even a future spouse as I did. Remember what it felt like to build bridges, reaching out to get to know someone or someplace different, and how it ended up changing you. Remember how it felt to serve others, and the satisfaction that came from devoting your time and energy to something bigger than yourself. Remember how it felt the first time you realized that in streaking, as in life, it's important to leave enough gas in the tank for the return trip. If you remember all of this, I have no doubt that you'll carry with you the very best of this place with you as you face, with courage and purpose, the road ahead, which will be at various times beautiful, tragic, joyous, challenging, and magical. And should that road ever lead you back to Charlottesville, and I very much hope it will, please know that we will leave the lights on for you. Finally, I hope you remember the words to this song, which you are about to sing for the very first time as graduates of the University of Virginia, accompanied by a fellow alum. Thank you, and congratulations again.
Hey, you crazy who's, class of 2021. What a year, good Lord. But you made it, and I am so proud of each and every one of you, and I cannot wait to see what you put out into this reopened world of ours. You know, graduation reminds me of when I graduated from UVA back in That weekend, my car actually got towed because I parked it in the president's spot on the lawn. So don't do that, but also don't worry because it all worked out. So let's bring this puppy home with a rendition of the good old song, one of the most often requested songs that I get. So here we go. Join me, will you? Virginia, hooray, hooray, hey!